Live from the Business RadioX studio inside Renaissance Bank, the bank that specializes in understanding you. It's time for North Fulton Business Radio.
And hello again, folks. Welcome to another edition of North Fulton Business Radio. I'm John Ray, and we are coming to you, still the virtual Business RadioX studio. No, we're not in Renaissance Bank quite yet, but hopefully one of these days soon we'll be back in our studio there. But in the meantime, we still love the folks at Renaissance. They've done a great job with the PPP loans and other help for small business. I know that myself because I've worked with them on behalf of clients. So check them out, renaissancebank.com. If you want to go into the branch, you can, but you need an appointment ahead of time. So give them a call or go to renaissancebank.com for more information. Renaissance Bank, understanding you, member FDIC. And now I want to turn to an old friend, Patrick O'Rourke. He is with Practice Quotient. Patrick, how are you, and welcome?
Doing awesome. John, how are you?
I'm great. So Practice Quotient, tell us about your firm. Tell us about you. Tell us about what you do, how you serve.
Okay. Well, I'm Patrick O'Rourke. I'm the founder and CEO of a firm called Practice Quotient. Everybody calls it PQ for short.
I like that.
Yeah. Practice Quotient doesn't roll off the tongue, I guess. So I was thinking like intelligence quotient, practice quotient.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was quite clever, actually.
Mm-hmm.
My wife thought it was silly, but there you go.
Well,
so at any rate, that's our business is called Practice Quotient. And what we do is, really the formal technical term for what we do is that we do managed dental care network contract analysis and negotiation. What clients and what most folks understand that to be is that, we analyze PPO contracts and we make sure that they're suitable for our clients being general dentists, oral surgeons, periodontists, endodontists, anybody in the dental space, prosthodontists. We have some orthos, and anybody that's submitting CDT, which are there's medical codes and the dental codes have their own codes. So we analyze all the contracts and then we make sure that they are a win-win for both the provider, i.e. our client, and for the network or payer, i.e. the insurance company. And so I'd like to think that we're a bridge between the provider and the payer communities.
What you're talking about is something extraordinarily important to a dental practice, yet this is not something they cover in dental school, right? I mean, what best practices are when it comes to the insurance carriers that you offer through your practice?
It does seem to be the case. They do not have any classes in contract review, statistical or actuarial analysis. No, they don't, or even credentialing or any of the other stuff that's involved with it. We don't do credentialing, but there's a lot that's actually involved with this decision. And it's a very big decision. And so no, they don't teach it in dental school. And there's, I don't know, you'd really have to go to insurance school, I think. It's a bit different, and it's incredibly time consuming, but it affects not a good portion. I would say it can affect up to 50% or more of the reimbursement of a dental practice or dental specialty practice. And so you have to understand, because this is one of your biggest, top two of your costs if you're in plans. PPOs can be very useful. It just depends. There's no one size fits all solution. So every practice kind of has its own, patient acquisition and retention strategy, if you will. And, what is that? So sometimes I ask clients and they're like, I don't know. And that's kind of that right there's one of the symptoms of well, you're losing money. So if you're outsourcing, if you just sign up for every single PPO, then what happens is you're always on discount. You're always on sale, right? Because if you think about what we're doing here or what the deal is, the proposition is the dental insurance companies go to the providers and they say, hey, listen, usually you charge $100 for this service. And, if you give us a discount of 30%, we'll pay you $70, right? Which is great. It's terrific, right? Don't you want new patients? And then we'll send you all these new patients and we'll give you the promotional consideration of being on our website. Along with dozens and dozens of other names, particularly in northern metro Atlanta. And you have the patient convenience of having the claim paid as in network. You're getting the added bonus of the full weight and breadth of Fortune 500 companies' marketing power steering patients your way. And so that part of it's definitely true. Now, if you're in a managed care friendly area, like say New York or Southern California, it's critical that you're in network, but there's still fee for service only practices. So being in network, dental insurance isn't like medical insurance. That's really a big misconception amongst consumers and really even the providers as well. Medical insurance, you have to go in network, right? If you want really any coverage, in most cases, like if you certainly an HMO, but even your point of service plans, dental PPOs, a PPO by definition has out of network coverage, right? And so, dental PPOs are by far and away, it's not even close, right? 85% of the entire market of dental insurance. And so, it's a very limited benefit, it's usually 100% coverage for your preventive. So think, office visits, x-rays, routine cleanings, and then 80% for your basic, which could be, extractions and fillings, and then 50% for your major work. So think crowns, dentures, implants, that type of stuff. And that's the most common plan. And it's the same in or out of network in most cases. And so people can go out of network. It's not really a problem because you only have $1,000 max. But the consumers, the number one reason why people don't go to the dentist or access oral health care is because they don't have dental insurance, which I personally think is silly, but I'm not going to change the world, just me and you.
Right.
There's no reason not to go to the dentist if you don't have dental insurance. Just use your HSA or your FSA.
Right.
And the number two reason is they don't know how much it's going to cost, even if they have dental insurance, because dental insurance to me is really easy and it's my bread and butter. I've been doing it for 20 years. But to Johnny Lunch Bucket, when you're, selling the employer group benefits and you're doing an open enrollment meeting and you just explain the medical benefits, right? What's your prescription copay? How's the maternity work? And, here's your deductible, here's your HSA and your FSA, like their eyes have already glazed over.
Right.
And I've done hundreds, if not 1,000 of these open enrollment meetings.
Sure.
And so the only thing I want Johnny Lunch Bucket to remember when he walks out that door is he better go to a participating provider, and so I say it over and over and over again. It's a different voice. And then we write it and I say, we, the insurance industry, we put it on the EOBs, put it on all the marketing material. And so you want to steer all of the members from the insurance company to your participating providers to ensure your cost of care is manageable. In theory, you also want to make sure that you go into quality providers. And you want to reward your providers for being in your network. So that's what's in it for the insurance company. And just for your listeners, this, but I'm from the insurance industry. So that's kind of what makes us different. There are a couple businesses or a couple firms that do this across the country. And, really the big difference is I'm from the insurance industry. So I, helped build dental insurance companies. I worked at Humana, for a while. I'm professionally certified in dental benefits underwriting, HIPAA, high-tech, Medicare, wellness, consumer-driven health care plans, several other things. none of which make me cool or hit at the neighborhood barbecue, unfortunately.
Well, so what that means is you understand the inner workings and the architecture of these plans.
That's correct. Very good observation.
Yeah, because you've been there. And what I heard there's a lot to unpack there, but one of the things I heard is, number one, you as a dentist, you don't automatically default to accepting every carrier that you possibly can. Say more on that.
Yeah. And so in most cases, you have different folks that are in different stages of their business. So, if you're a startup, and you have empty chair time, an empty operatory makes a whoosh sound.
Right.
That's
right.
money getting flushed down the toilet.
That's right.
And so, in kind of to your earlier point, if you just got out of school and you got a mountain of debt, and you open up your practice, the meter's running and it's your money. The bullets are live. You've never owned a business before.
Right.
Welcome to the entrepreneur club. John, can you please get the man or woman their jacket? Now you're the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, the bookkeeper, the website person, marketing, janitor. Oh, hey, listen, you got to be a dentist too.
Right.
And so that takes an adjustment period, I think. And so what's important is cash flow. And so you need to make sure, step one is you need to survive. That's a startup.
Sure.
So, we don't do a lot of startups. In fact, we don't really do any. I talked to a lot of folks, and I've, been to GRU over in Augusta, and it was very clear to me in the first 10 minutes, I'm like, so here's kind of the things that you need to think about. And everybody was staring at me, like I slipped into Portuguese.
Yeah. You're like the skunk at the wedding, right? You're bringing all the bad news.
Right. And I'm like, so no, do you guys know what I'm talking about? I'm like, do you know what credentialing is? And they're like,
Oh boy.
And, and I'm like, well, here's how a contract works and what a network is. Nope. None of that, huh?
Oh, okay. Wow.
And so I spent a lot of, I did my talk, and then afterwards, the kids had a lot of questions. I probably stayed there till like 11 o'clock at night. Answered all their questions. That I really feel like it's like throwing a pebble in the ocean. And so unfortunately there's a lot of stuff, if you don't do your own homework, or if you don't have good advisors around you, that, you got to do what you got to do. So if you're just fresh out of school, you got to do what you got to do to survive. You'll learn a lot of things. Once you're established, if you're an established doc, to make this as simple as I can, when you're looking at PPOs, it comes down to, well, how much access do you want to have as a participating provider to these various pools of discounted insurance patients? Right. On a scale of 1 to 10, right. And so some clients look at it as access. Some clients look at it as, how much discounting do I need to do in order to fill my schedule? Really the same question. Like, we'll give you the answer, but their perspectives are different. Makes sense?
Right. Sure.
Yeah. And so, most of our practices, most of our clients are tend to be top tier docs. They're definitely established. And our job is to convince insurance companies to, pay them more than they would usually pay, which I know this sounds crazy, but they're just not in a hurry to do, right?
Yeah, right. Right.
And so we need to understand what it is about that practice that makes that practice important and a good partner for the carrier.
So now, if you don't mind me interrupting, that was really an interesting statement you just made. I mean, what you're saying is, if I can put it in another way, you're really a practice advocate with the insurance company. I mean, you advocate for that practice and why their business is important with the insurance company, so that that insurance company will in effect pay more to do business with them.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean for the bottom line of a practice? I mean, because you obviously help practices, as you say, accept less discounts. You help them pick the right kind of, I guess, portfolio, if you will, of insurance providers to do business with, right? What does that mean for the typical practice that you work with in terms of their bottom line? I mean, if you don't want to use a real life example, maybe you can use one that's without a name, but it would be interesting, I think, for our folks to hear that.
If I told you our actual batting average, John, you would probably use profanity and not believe me.
Well, we're not regulated by the FCC, so try me out.
Really?
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm going to have to give my official reply here, which is it really depends. And this is true. So every project is different. Like where were they when they started out? Maybe they were on good contracts already. And so we're just doing a tune-up. For practices that are writing off, $500,000, which happens every day. Let's just say that they're pleased. Sometimes I tell them, I'm like, look, if you're not sending me a Christmas card at the end of this, then I must have got hit by a bus. So it really depends on how bad off they are, whether anybody's, looked at these contracts. It depends on the leverage of that particular practice. But the projects, these projects are not easy. They are not, short or brief. So they're long-term engagements where you have to understand exactly what the practice is doing and why. This is a big portion of revenue. Huge. I mean, this is it. Like, this is a whole enchilada. This is your wealth. And so we need to understand how important the carriers are. We need to look at the contracts. You have to do all of the math. And then you have to go to the, what I call the market. And, it's not Wall Street. I'm talking about the relevant entities and networks and carriers that are in any given market. Like, we're a national firm. We have clients from Anchorage to LA,
sure,
Miami to New York, but we're based right here in Atlanta, Georgia. God bless Georgia. And, so everywhere's different. So the market in Atlanta is different than, LA or Chicago, or certainly Boise, Idaho.
Right.
So you have to understand all of that. And then you got to go out to all of these folks and go back and forth and then the carriers have to understand, and they're all different too. I think that there's, everybody wants to lump, insurance carriers into some bucket. They actually care about different things. Their target client type or patient type or employer group varies as well. And their leadership, they're all different. And so they care about different things. And so, we try to be as transparent as possible with the insurance carriers. And so we give some information about the client, like, this is why they're awesome. All right. And then it comes down to the numbers, and we have an actuarial tool here that is, just as good or really better than anything the insurance companies have, because that's where I'm from. So I had to build something. Whereas we're using underwriting methodology based on that practice, whereas they're usually looking at a market. If you look at Atlanta, so they're projecting claims out to be 2 or 3 years, where we're looking more specific at the experience or the claims history of that specific practice. And so you have to go out there. So you're 10 months into this thing before now we are going to start making some decisions, right? And now those decisions and the execution of these decisions, right, are what takes the most time. And so you have to then, how are you going to execute? We usually have most of the game plan done at that point. But we're very conservative here. And so we're very methodical. We want to avoid fire drills and minimize any turbulence. And by turbulence, I mean, cash flow disruption, patient disruption, claims disruption, or, most of all, if not the most important, staff disruption. Everybody needs to be comfortable and confident in what we're doing and why. And, so it's not like we provide the guidance and we do the math, and we provide all of the recommendations that are based on the direction that the client has given us up to that point. Obviously things change, but then when we go and we sit down with the team at the practices, it's up to them to say, yes or no, and what their risk tolerance is going to be. If let's say that they wanted to, let's say there was a major carrier, right? I won't use any names. Let's just say you're in a market, there's a big carrier, and the carrier, it's 40% of your practice, right? Of your revenue volume. And then we do the math, and they're paying you 50 cents on the dollar. Well, that's not good because your business overhead is, 60, 65 if you include your salaries, which you should. I'm sure your spouses want you to, and your children.
Sure. Yeah. They like that.
Yeah. I bet your wife does too.
Yeah. Yep.
And so if our business overhead is 65, then how can we take 50 cents on the dollar? Right? That doesn't make a whole lot of financial sense.
No.
And I don't think you have to be Stephen Hawking to understand that. And so, but let's say that we do the math, and then it's 40% of the practice. Let's say just keep easy numbers. It's $1 million practice. So it's 400,000. And then you're like, well, okay, we're getting 50 cents on the dollar. We have 400,000 in revenue at 50 cents on the dollar. So that's a ton of patients, right? That's a lot of patients, and the carrier is unreasonable. Let's say that they're in Atlanta just because we're here, and they go, you know what, John Ray Dentistry, you know how many dental practices we have in Alpharetta? So you got plenty. Pound sand. Tell John Ray that we appreciate all of his business and we'll enjoy counting his money for years to come. But he either takes 50 cents on the dollar or he's out. And we just say, we're always playing professional. Okay. Like, I understand. I do. I can understand the insurance carrier side completely. I'm like, okay, fair enough. And so they then make their business decisions. Now we come back to you. We'll use you. We'll call you Dr. John Ray. Make your mama real proud.
Yeah, that'll come as a surprise. But anyway, go ahead.
And so then, I'll come back to you. And I said, John, look, here's the deal. So we have a carrier X here is paying you 50 cents on the dollar. So you're losing money. Right. You understand this, right? And then, usually the client has a few choice words for a little while. You got to wait for that to die down.
Sure.
And then we say, well, they're not budging, and they're not going to budge. And this is the worst case scenario. But I think that this is really important content in case any of the provider community is listening, and even the payer community, because we're very consistent in this particular message. Rule number one is our client's got to break even. So we're not losing money unless there's a damn good reason why. So at any rate, so we go, okay, so you're getting 50 cents on the dollar. You should we're going to have to terminate that agreement. You're going to go out of network is what our recommendation is going to be. Right. So then we do a cost benefit analysis, and then, then the client's reaction is like, oh man, that'd be awful, Pat. That'd be awful. What do you mean go out of network? That's terrible. We're going to lose patients, Pat. And I'm like, yeah, sure will. How many? They're like, well, I don't know. So, well, I don't know either. I mean, if you think you're going to lose half, and they're like, oh, half. Oh, Pat, that would be a disaster. That would be a calamity. Like, no, actually it wouldn't.
Yeah.
From a financial perspective, you would make more money. You would.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you're going to lose half because you told me that you are awesome for all of these reasons. Right now, are you the Walmart of dentistry, or you tell me? And so they either make the decision. It's up to them, obviously, but most folks don't hire us if they're not going to kind of follow guidance, right?
Sure,
it's up to them. But I just give them the facts. we're neutral towards it, and so. And the bottom line is, and this happens all the time across the country, and they're like, so once they understand that and they see the math and they're like, man, half of my income is gone. I'm losing money every time I see one of these members. And the bottom line, you don't want any more of them, right? You're losing money, right? Because you're doing a good job for them. Now you're getting referred by your patients, right? And you're getting referred by people that they work with, because where does everybody usually spend all their time? At work. But where did they get that dental insurance? At work. Right. And so now you're a victim of your own success. You get referred in more 50 cents on the dollar. Now you're losing more and more money. Right. So if you're at 30%, the next year is going to be 40%. What are you going to do when it's 60%? So that's really, one of the most important things when I'm speaking, across the country. I'm like, you can't take 50 cents on the dollar. You don't have to hire us. Right. Just stop doing that. Right. And so, but that's the conversation. There's naturally some anxiety, but if it's planned out properly, then I'll tell you, we've done hundreds of projects at this point, and they never lose half of their patients. Yeah. So you've got the experience to bring to that, and to help reassure a dentist that life is going to be good on the other side of this project. So, because of all the other projects you've done and all the other, testimonials that you've got from satisfied clients, right? Right. Yeah. We don't have a sales team at all, actually. We are just now kind of raising our visibility, and I've had some extra time to work on the website. We are exclusively referral based, so it's usually a current client that sent you over to us. Current client, or sometimes there's somebody that's involved in an advisory capacity at that practice that cares about their long-term financial success, like maybe a CPA or a wealth manager. Some of the more top tier dental consultants that are out there, and but it's somebody that's really invested into that practice and has some sort of stake in that practice being successful. And so then they call here, they talk to my team, and but every single client has to talk to me first, and so then we have a conversation. I'm fairly direct, in case that's not immediately obvious. And, and we talk about it. Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Like, sometimes we're a good fit. Sometimes we can help you. Sometimes not. But I'll tell you that really right up front. And so that's, you never want to jump on a project or, jump into something that's going to be 2 years if you don't understand what you're getting into, so, what I tell folks, I said, look, we're going to be friends for 2 years. So let's make sure everybody's very comfortable and confident with what we want to accomplish together. Because at the end of it, if they're not thrilled, then there goes our marketing plan, because that's how we get all of our clients. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this has been great, Pat. Great stuff from Patrick O'Rourke. He's the founder, CEO of Practice Quotient, better known as PQ. Pat, this has been awesome. And we know you've got to get on to work with your clients. So how about, before we let you go, give us your contact information. Folks that have heard this would like to be in touch. How can they do that? Sure. You can contact our offices anytime. We are not closed. We have full staff. We haven't furloughed anybody. We're at 470 is the area code, 592-1680. That's 470-592-1680. Or you can submit a contact us inquiry on our website, which is www.practicequotient.com, practicequotient.com. And, you can also, if you wanted to email me, you can email me at Rourke@practicequotient.com. And, we're here, we're open. We are in Eastern time zone. So if you're listening to this and you happen to be in Anchorage, we'll send you a link to my calendar, but we can accommodate before or after business hours. Awesome. But one thing before we go, John, I have a question for you. Oh, Right. So
I'm the one that asks the questions here. Come on.
listen, I think it's fair play.
Okay. Bring it on.
Question in.
Okay.
So, I'm checking out your hair and I'm wondering, is John Ray cutting his hair at home? Do you have a Flowbee, or are you doing it yourself, or what's going on?
When you have headphones on, it kind of takes care of that. So, if I didn't have headphones on, it's a natural barrette. Headphones are.
Oh, well, next time I'm going to be on camera then, because I'll look like Ted Danson.
There you go. I love it. Patrick O'Rourke with Practice Quotient. Pat, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you, John.
Thanks. Folks, if you've got headaches that involve administrative tasks, bookkeeping, marketing, presentations, maybe you've got a virtual workshop that needs to be planned, well, go engage a smart and reliable office angel. They fly in with talent and experience and get the job done, and they fly out. And they've been working virtually for, I think they're about 17, 18 years old now, founded by Essie Escobedo. She's the chief executive angel over there at 770-442-9246. If you've got an issue that is holding your business back, give Essie a call and explain to her what you've got, and she's got answers. And if she can't help you, she always connects you. So officeangels.us is the website. So be in touch with Essie Escobedo, Office Angels. And folks, just another reminder that you can listen to this show on all the major podcast apps. We'd love it if you could go on any of your favorites there, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Go on and give us a nice review. It helps us profile great business leaders like Patrick. So check out any of those apps and more. And you can also, of course, go to northfultonbusinessradio.com and find our complete archive of shows. Follow us on social media as well, if you would. LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. We're at North Fulton BRX. So for my guest, Patrick O'Rourke, I'm John Ray. Join us next time here on North Fulton Business Radio.